Thanks all for coming. Welcome to the Find Calm Here community. We have live virtual workshops, and I'm excited to share with you some new things that are going to be developing in 2020 as they change. But right now, we're going to be having this is our event. We have a break next week because of Thanksgiving. We're taking a week off, and we're going to come back in December with 3 events for the first 3 weeks of December. And then we're going to take off until the new year. And in the new year, I'm really wanting to get feedback from you guys about what's really going to be helpful. Because what I'd like to do, I know that we started Find Calm here in April with a vision board workshop. And that's really what is great to do in the beginning of the year, is to set that intention for the year, to create this awesome visual representation of what you're excited and what you're ready to gung ho in 2021. We're coming up on right now. So what I'd like for you guys to do is give me some feedback about, like, are you guys excited about the new year? You don't have to share right now, but like just think about it and then let me know, because what I'm going to do is start to go from weekly. We're going to go from weekly to monthly meetings. And so I'm gonna look for some feedback as far as like what best time is for this kind of a thing, so that we can kind of make sure we have really great attendance going into the new year. I'm also going to share with you guys, and I know that you guys, a lot of you are on this platform already, but our community is moving kind of off of Facebook, and I'm moving it on to our Mighty Network. So I've launched our Mighty Network back in June, and it's on a different platform than Facebook. And what I want to do, and just to point out for you guys, is that it's a really great place that's all positive, and it has a lot of resources. Facebook, everybody knows what Facebook is, a distraction. And we're talking a lot in our community about mindfulness and trying to be really intentional about our actions and what we're doing. And this platform really allows for you to come find calm here, because it's all about that. It's all about resources. So we have, I just created a new resources section, and it's kind of like a roadmap, and I'm still working it out. I'm still fleshing it out. But basically, you guys can, like, when you log into the community, and I know everybody on here so far is on there. If you're not on there, there'll be a link in our show notes to get into the community. It is free. But I create a roadmap, and it's under the resources tab on the left-hand side. And basically, it just walks you through what the community is about, the guidelines, kind of how to get around the community, just to kind of give you a couple like ways just to understand what the platform's about, why we're here, all that good stuff. So you're going to see all of that in, I'm going to move this over. You're going to see all of that in the roadmap. And then as I build things, they're going to open up. So it's kind of like a mini course, except it's a roadmap. And then it's going to open up, and you're going to see like new things next year, like Ask Me Anythings. We're going to do a monthly social, depending on what you guys want, right? So it's all based on like your feedback. So it's a really big new direction that we're changing with Find Calm here. We've been doing the weekly, and I love doing the weekly events. But it just has been like, I really want to take it in a more directional as far as like how we're going to go forward. And that's all based on what you guys are going to let me know. So just wanted to give you a heads up on that. The events for the Zoom calls for December all can be found inside the community, or if you go to the Find Calm Here website. And then, we'll get to Michelle. Let's talk about morning routines. So I want to just welcome Michelle. She is somebody I just met recently, actually, pretty recently, and she has an amazing story, and she finds calm with this amazing morning routine. I have a great morning routine that sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, which I need to get more consistent about, honestly, being authentic and honest about it. But Michelle, tell us a little bit more about your story, and share with us about morning routines and getting up when the sun rises.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate you all because being here alone, it's such an amazing step in personal growth. I think that taking the time to speak to me right now and speak to Deb is just a big accomplishment. Most of us don't make time for ourselves, And it wasn't until recently that I started making time for myself, because while I thought I was super productive, I'm not an expert in time management. I want to start clarifying that from the start. I'm a career coach, and the way I came about this is that I used to be in corporate America. I was a big time executive with telecommunications, then with healthcare, and I got burnt out. Um, and I have three teenagers. I'm a mom of three teenagers, so life gets pretty busy. And one day I'm just like driving my minivan with, a bunch of teenagers in the car. And I'm thinking I'm driving, a really cool car, but something kind of stopped me. And I was just very lost. I had lost myself. And I think that happens to a lot of us as we go through the grind, as we get burnt out, as we just start thinking, is this it? I mean, this is like Groundhog Day every day. And I don't feel like I am recharging. We're just going in the hamster wheel of life. So while I was in that very sad moment, I started thinking, how is it that I wanted to repurpose my life? And I know today we talk a lot about passion and purpose, but we really don't give it that much thought unless we're very intentional about it, unless we make time for it. And that's exactly what I did. I started making time for it, and I used to share all my corporate experience on how to just land promotions and how to be able to talk to executives with my friends, even strangers. I'm the kind of people that people just tell me their life story, and I just love giving advice. So one day I realized, wait a minute, I've been doing this for 20 years. People would start telling me, Michelle, I remember when you did my resume back in like 1995. And I would be like, whoa, really? I did that. But it took me a while to figure out what is it that I want to do with this. So I created a program called The Best Ages Now. I mostly help women relaunch into a career, but I have men and women who are just frustrated with life. They're at a point where they're just doing what they need to do in order to pay their bills, in order to just engage with the responsibilities of life, but they really haven't taken the time to think it through and say, is this where I want to go? Is this my forever plan? So I made this program called The Best Ages Now, because it doesn't matter how old you are. I have very young clients, and I have clients who are empty nesting, or men who are just frustrated with the way life just, dealt them the cards. So I was finding some pushback because my clients were telling me, this is a great program, but I just don't have time. I don't have time to do what you're telling me to do. I don't have time to get this done. I don't have time to work on myself. So I had to go back and say, how can I help them? I was not a morning person. I have to admit, I was just not. I would go to bed really late. I was a perfectionist, someone who wanted to just accomplish the most out of my to do list. And I would be getting so much satisfaction out of that, but I wasn't putting any intention in any of the things that I was doing. It was more like a checklist, and life became a checklist. So I started getting coached by different mentors, and I came across Hal Elrod from the Miracle Morning and Robin Sharma from the 5 a.m. Club. I started reading their books. I started practicing their, not just their routines, but their mantra, more about how they think life should be approached. And I came up with this challenge called the Sunrise Challenge. I said, let me see if I can do it with myself. So it was hard. I'm not going to lie to you. But then I said, how can I build this into a doable program? How can I make this so that I am not just getting up in the morning and working on myself, so that it becomes a routine, a new lifestyle? So this challenge allowed me to eventually one day wake up at 5 a.m. and pretty much my body was waking me up, and I was getting done a lot of things for myself, not for anybody else. And when was the last time I want to ask you, and please be honest, when was the last time anybody here took 1 hour to themselves when no one was bothering them, when there were no interruptions with the phone, when you pretty much were just gifting yourself time? Can anyone tell me here? Raise your hand. No? Yes? Deb? No? I,
I definitely do. So, and
well,
Carolyn looks like she had her hand raised too. So,
I'm trying
and
to, but I'm really bad at that.
okay. How
Yeah.
about you, Jason? You do? Okay, awesome. And are you using this time to change your life? Yes. That's why you're here. I think this is why we're talking today, because I think a lot of us have gotten to the conclusion that if we do not start taking the time to ourselves, life is just going to take over. And, a lot of speakers nowadays talk about that dash in the tombstone where you want to be able not to just wonder, what if, right? Or, just wonder, I never tried this, I never did this. So, building a morning routine and waking up with the sunshine, the beautiful sunrise. I'm in Florida. I don't know where everybody is, but there's a lot of scientific research which tells us that the rays of the early sun have a lot of impact in our physiology. So basically, what happens is that when you are getting these rays of sun, which are pretty powerful, remember the sun's waking up, it promotes the same effect that exercise, for example, would. It creates all the feel goods of the body, and you start not only getting vitamin D or your endorphins going, running and energizing you, but it is a time set for your body and your mind to be able to say, I'm alive, I'm ready to take on the world, and I'm ready to gift it to me. So I want to walk you today through this step that I've put together just to first understand, why is it important to do this? How can you do it? And maybe practice some of the things that you can do during this hour that has this multiplying effect on you, your life, and then it will have a multiplying effect on those who are surrounding you, those who you're servicing. And you will not be able to tell once you start doing it that it is kind of a struggle. Yes, at the beginning, anything in life is hard. Any change is hard. I mean, I tried to stop coffee. I gave up on that. I'm not giving away coffee. So I decided I'm going to do this and see how it works. So I did it for 6 to 8 months by myself. I started practicing with friends, and we all noticed that we just basically shifted the way we lived life. So let me share with you just, does anybody have any expectations as to what they would like to accomplish by waking up early? I always ask this question. Any brave soul wants to? Callie, Carolyn?
So, I'll just back up and say that I started a practice yesterday and then I fell off today.
Hey,
But
I'm still trying to
so I
quit
know you just
coffee.
gotta
It's
keep
not
going.
happening.
Yeah. But like I found yesterday, I definitely enjoy the time that I carved out to do the things that I wanted to do for myself. Um, but like I found that I was still getting a late start to my work day. Like I'm trying to build a VA business, and I've got all these calls and classes, and and then all of a sudden it's lunch and got to feed the cat. So it's like I got up earlier, I did the things to take care of me, but I still didn't put in the time that I think I need to have, that I know I need to have to do the things I need to do to advance myself. So that's just one of the things I struggle with.
Okay, so it sounds like it's
But I
what
guess
to
that's,
accomplish,
yeah,
how to build
yeah,
a routine on how to accomplish what you want to accomplish within the time that
yeah,
you've
like
allotted for
maybe
yourself.
just being more efficient or something.
Yes. Okay. All right. So I'm glad you're saying that so that I can tackle that. Anyone else? Callie? Is it Callie or Kaylee?
It's Kaylee, but I
Kaylee.
understand. I don't know. Lately, I've just been trying to like de-stress and try to take time for myself. So I don't know. Yeah.
So if you were to wake up 1 hour earlier, what would be your expectation of how would you want to feel after
Like
putting
maybe
that? It's a habit. It's a
yeah,
lifestyle choice.
yeah. Right now I'm not sure, but I don't know.
Probably stress release, like
Yeah,
right? Would that be
yeah.
something you want to accomplish, having less
I
stress?
just so like I like just do that. Like I scratch like my face. It's like a part of my stress. I've been trying to stop it.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. So freeing yourself so that you can de-stress and not fall into, some other behavior that you're just not happy with. Let's just,
Yeah.
is that accurate? I just want to be able to understand
Yeah.
everyone's goals. Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Jason?
I've been doing a morning routine for probably 6 or 7 months,
Okay.
and I've stuck with it. And I just want to make sure that I don't know. I kind of did the same thing, the miracle morning and stuff like that. And I was curious of what everybody else was doing, but I set out from 5 to 8 in the morning is my time, and get my kids up, get my wife off to work, and then go back to my time, and then I'm at my desk at 9. And so it's worked for me. It's given me clarity on, the top 3 things I need to get done today. I already have them written out, but not until 9 o'clock do I sit down and check email and stuff like that. So it's really relieved a lot of stress, and it works for me, but I'm just curious of what everybody else is doing to see if I can subtract or add to my routine.
Well, congratulations. It sounds like you have put in a gift to yourself. Like I said, to me, it feels like I'm gifting myself.
It's almost to where I protect it now. It's
Yeah.
like my time. No, no, my time.
Yeah.
You can't have it.
And sometimes it feels like this luscious, expensive. It's like a treat. It's like if you were going to treat yourself with like something unimaginable. That's when I'm reading, or I'll walk you through what I do. But sometimes it just feels like, oh my gosh, I feel guilty. So I've had to get rid of that because it is that impactful. Hello. Is it Priscilla? Welcome. And everyone who is off on video, I just wanted to say thank you for having me. I'm going to share the screen. I'm not super crazy about being off the screen because I love engaging. So please let the audio talk to me when I have the slides up so that we can interact with each other. I'm going to, let's see, share. Yeah. Hold on, just give me 1 second. You're gonna see I think we're here. Yes. All righty. So finding calm with the sunrise, it is achievable. I'm really loving Deb's platform because this is one resource that I think everybody should put into place. And before I get started, I want to tell you that it just doesn't matter when you get up. Ideally, you want to get up before sunrise because of what I've explained to you and the benefits that it has. But one thing that I tell my clients is to have a lot of grace for themselves and not to set expectations that are not achievable. So if you are just able to get up 1 hour earlier and that doesn't coincide with the sunrise, start there. Do not limit yourself because I missed the sunrise, I'm not good enough. Do not do that to yourself. The idea here is to wake up an hour earlier than your usual routine, and that's where you start. When I started looking at the two different mentors, Hal Elrod to me has the lifesavers, which in my mind are things that you should be doing, but not necessarily every day you're going to accomplish all of them. I want to talk to you about them because some people have heard of them, but not everybody understands what to do with them. So, Hal believes in silence. And this is the one thing that I've talked to Deb that I treasure the most. Because my mind, I don't know if your mind works this way, but my mind, when I wake up, I start going through my list, I start going through my concerns, my fears, my just everything that wants to consume me. And silence is a treat. Silence is not meditation. Silence is basically to tell the brain to stop, clear, and give yourself this recharge so that your brain is not telling you what to do, but you're telling your brain, which we know now, thoughts, guide our emotions, how to get the day started. In my routine, I start with silence because it's intentional. It clears away all the stuff that is just negative and all the stuff that I know is going to not have a positive effect in my life. So I do 5 minutes of purposeful silence with nature. And when I say nature, I don't mean focus on, something that is going, like I have a friend who starts wondering about nature. If she sees a bird or if she hears something, she starts storytelling herself what is going on with nature. No, it's about taking in nature. So I highly encourage you to get out, whether you open a window, whether you open a door and you just go to the front of your living space, hear nature out. Nature is going to recharge you. And believe me when I tell you that I've always been a huge nature lover. I'm all about road trips and taking it in, but I wasn't purposefully doing it. I was just taking it for granted. And now it is gifting me a lot of this clear mindedness that allows me to just start from scratch. And then Hal believes in programming yourself with affirmations. And we're going to do an exercise about that because we as humans usually believe that whatever we tell ourselves doesn't have an impact on our behavior, but there's a lot of psychology telling us otherwise. He believes in visualization, imagining separate from silence, separate from affirmations, what you want to achieve mentally and what you want your life to become. And this is not so much the law of attraction, it's not prayer. It's more about you visualizing what you want yourself to do that day. There is research saying that when you visualize what you want to accomplish in the day, you're more likely not to procrastinate and you're more likely to actually accomplish it. And then exercise, I have a lot of clients getting stuck here. They believe the sunrise routine is about losing weight or just becoming fit, and they really want to cram in all their time in exercise. And I highly encourage you to exercise, but to not consume the hour with exercise, meaning do a brisk walk. I have clients watching the sunrise with a brisk walk and they love it. They take pictures, they're listening to a podcast, so they're accomplishing a lot. Me personally, I just do yoga, which stretches my body, allows me to wake up and allows me to be mindful about my body, and it brings me a lot of personal satisfaction. Now, reading is something Robin Sharma, and I'll go into his method in a minute, highly recommends, because when we are growing, when we are intaking, and it doesn't matter what you read, you, I'm sure, have by now, since you're joining this community, a lot of books on personal growth that you want to accomplish, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a video, whether it's reading. Allow yourselves to read a few pages. Don't get constricted. I have to read 15 pages every day. No, just take it in, whether it's a quote, whether it's 2, 3 pages. I personally intake, right now I'm reading Brené Brown's Dare to Lead. And she talks a lot about vulnerability. And with one page that I am intaking, I am growing and learning a lot about how to combat fear and put myself out there. Scribing, I know Deb has gone into with other partners about journaling, but I want to do an exercise with you about how to journal your passion. Now, Robin Sharma, who I highly recommend that you follow and listen to, because he's an outstanding speaker with purpose. He talks in the 5 a.m. Club about the 20-20-20 formula. Jason, have you done this? The 20-20-20 formula from Robin Sharma?
Yes, I've adjusted it so and so, but yeah, that's where I learned the difference between like quiet time, meditation, stretching, mobility work, what is actually a workout, walking. But I live in Colorado, so there's a lot of snow here, so sometimes my times get adjusted. But yeah, it really clarified the meaning of each thing. I always thought like yoga was like I don't know how to do yoga. Turns out stretching is basically
Stretching
yoga
is yoga.
for me.
Yeah,
I don't have to
absolutely.
learn a bunch of poses and stuff. I just have to stretch.
Yes. And stretching allows your body to wake up. So my
Right.
routine basically starts with silence. Then I do into moving stretching, which is my yoga practice. But it's not when I say practice, I just do the poses that I know I'm comfortable with, because at the beginning of the day, you want to be able to just release your body so that it gets used to waking up, so that you don't are not looking at your bed like, oh my gosh, I wish I could go back to bed. So then he believes in 20 minutes of moving, 20 minutes of reflecting and reading, and then 20 minutes of planning, goal setting, and journaling. So pretty much you're writing. I find a lot of people find that this 20-20-20 time block works better for them, because with Hal Elrod's, people sometimes get really overwhelmed with trying to accomplish so much within 1 hour. I find that 20-minute increments allows you to have this control, which is not a negative control, it's a positive control regarding areas of your life which are going to elevate you. And then he believes in the 60-10 method, throughout the day, for working for 60 minutes straight without interruptions, followed by you giving 10 minutes of some sort of refuels or one of these practices that we're talking about. And the reason why I want to bring this is because we do not have to wait until the following day to treat ourselves with these practices. Think of them as you're getting started with your day, you gifted yourself this time, and then throughout the day, you're going to have a continuation of them. So whether it's reading and journaling or exercising, for example, you're able to attach that to another gift. That's how I want you to hopefully see this approach. You're gifting yourself. And what some of you mentioned is that the benefit is that you start, number one, developing a healthy habit and having the clarity and the calmness that you need in order to get stuff accomplished. So, Caroline, I know your concern is about time management. You may want to approach this 20-20-20, give it a try for a few days and see if this allows you to keep your time within budget so that you're able to move on with your day. In terms of,
I like
yes,
that idea.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, I like that idea because I was trying like the 5-10 minute, and it's the stopping and starting on something else, and you get distracted. So yeah, like 2020. I'm gonna try that. Thank you.
Yes, it is. The time goes past so fast when you are feeling good. So you're gonna find that through these practices, you're gonna want to keep reading, or you're want to keep journaling. And I do not recommend you put set alarms. I do not recommend that you move into your phone. That is the number one thing that I recommend to my clients. Try to get all of these things done without your phone. So if you're going to listen to a podcast, for example, and take pictures while you're doing your walk with the sunrise, do it in do not disturb mode. Do it in a time where you're not afraid. Your significant other or your children or whoever needs to reach you. Try to get this stuff done without technology, because technology sometimes so early in the day can just shift away from this practice. Now, I wanted to see if we could do a little bit of exercise regarding journaling your vision. I know you have done goal setting vision boards, and you've talked a lot about goal setting. And one of the things that I find with journaling is, I was sharing with Deb that I actually do my journaling at night because it allows me to release everything that is on my mind and it's consuming me, and all my concerns and the fears and the not so good enough that it's sitting with me. I kind of dump it down in paper, and I'm able to get a good night's sleep so that I can get this practice started. A lot of a morning routine has to do with your night routine. So waiting for the morning to release what you have in your head may not necessarily be productive in the sense that it's going to allow you to be rested for you to start this practice. What I find journaling is good for in the morning is to talk about your passions, to talk about how to achieve joy. What is that dream life that you envision, and what are the steps that you want to take, and what is the one thing I usually when we do journaling in the sunrise challenge that I do with clients, I ask them to do one passion, one goal for the day. What is that minuscule thing that is going to advance you, that is imperfect? It's not perfect at all, but allows you to get closer to that dream life. And that's attainable. And I don't know if any of you have ever done that. Anyone? Deb, have you journal your passion with actionable mini steps?
I do a lot of journaling, and I kind of have a practice of, before I do a vision board, I'm journaling out what I want. And then from the journaling kind of gives me the direction for like the images and the words that I want to incorporate into the journal. So I kind of visually do it in that way.
Okay. So what I wanted to do, if you allow me to, it's explain to you why is that so beneficial, and then maybe give you some prompts for you guys to perhaps journal, something you are hoping to achieve in your life, and maybe one actionable step that is not perfect. I'll give you an example. One of my goals is to be able to do a road trip with my kids to California, right? And that's just something I've always dreamed. My firstborn is going out to college next year. I'm running out of time. This whole pandemic is derailing a lot of my plans. And I'm in Florida. California is pretty far away, right? But I think I have a plan on how to make it work. Budget, but I haven't put it down in paper because my main constraint would be budget. So I am starting to figure out how much is it going to cost me to get, to a place where I don't have to have a hotel, which will be Texas, where I have some family, and just make it there. So you see, That is just one dream that I have. And then I need to get to California, and then I have to travel the state. So I can't overwhelm myself with the goal. No, I need to break it down into something very, very small. And what is it that I'm going to do today to get closer to that? So, one of the things that I did this morning was I figure out a route and how much it was going to cost me in gas and some car maintenance. And it just took me 10, 15 minutes on the internet, but I feel closer to my goal. You know, I'm not there yet, but I feel closer to my goal, and that brings me joy. So I wanted to share with you this concept the Japanese have of ikigai. Has anyone heard of it? Yes? Okay. The reason why I wanted to share this before we did any journaling or anything to do with passion journaling, which I think it's one of my biggest treats in my morning routine, is that sometimes when we look at what other cultures, how they assess life, we learn because we're surrounded by people who perhaps think alike and read more or less this, the same things. We are creatures of surrounding ourselves with like-minded people. So I love to step outside and see how other very different cultures approach the world and humanity in general, so that I learn something that is foreign to me. And this concept I love because we basically, when you look at these different circles, we have the yellow, the pink, the blue, and the green. We start looking at what you love, what the world needs, what can you be paid for, and what are you good at. And since I do career coaching, I usually start with this with people, because if you look at the diagram, when you look at what you love, it has your passions and your missions. And then when you look at what the world needs, it has your mission and your vocation. What can you be paid for, your vocation and your profession, and what you're good at, your passion and your profession. And you're going to see that we don't start thinking about these different circles, we are not able to combine and get to ikigai, which is a concept for the reason for being. And it doesn't have to be approached from a vocational standpoint. It can be approached from a meaningful purpose. Why am I here? So I encourage you all, I'm going to share this with Deb so she can put it on her platform, that you start looking at this diagram and start answering these questions. What do I love? What does the world need from me? What can I get paid for? And what am I good at? And when you start seeing how these four different answers start combining, you're going to see that you're going to arrive at this center, which is called the reason for my being. And you're going to have a much easier time with how you journal. Because a lot of people always ask me, I don't know what to write. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I need to do. So does anybody have any feedback on this?
Did you want to stop sharing and then we can kind of go into conversation, or is there more that you're sharing?
I was going to give some journal prompts next. So we'll put this diagram on your platform so that, is that okay, Deb?
Yeah, that's perfect. And I know you just joined Find Calm here, so feel free to post it up as well.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So I think I'm looking for, sorry, I got lost here.
That's okay. I did want to go back to what you were saying though about goals and just sharing that.
No, I mean that the stop share there.
There you go. I did want to just share that there's a Tuesday mastermind group that I'm leading, and we just talked about doing this breakdown of, okay, how can I let something go? And then how can I, when I have let something go, then how can I bring things mindfully back in, whether it's physical things or mental space that I have time for extra things. And this is kind of leading along the same lines of how to really identify what some might say is purpose, or what you're saying, meaning for being. And I love that phrase. And I love the diagram too. I think it's really great because it really represents so much of, like, you don't have to just focus on income. You don't have to just focus on helping people. You can do all of these things and it doesn't have to take you, years or hours of time. You can schedule it in your day in that short way. So thank you so much for sharing all of those resources. If you want to start with a prompt, we could do that if you had one.
Yes, I do actually. I have 3 questions that I would like you to pick one and then answer it. The first one is, how can I use my talents to better serve humanity? Okay, so that's one of them. The second one is, what is the one thing I feel genuinely most excited about? And then the last one is, how do I want to be remembered 50 years from now? So the first one is, how can I use my talents to better serve humanity? The second one is, what is the one thing I feel genuinely most excited about? And the last one is, how do I want to be remembered 50 years from now? So if you could answer one of those questions, and since we're a small group, I think it'll be nice if we all could share. What do you think, Deb? Do we have time?
Yeah, we have a little bit more than about 15 minutes
Okay, good.
left. So yeah, if anybody is feeling called to share their answers I put the questions in the chat so you can kind of reference them. Does anybody have one that like jumped out? They're like, oh, this is really connecting with me, or you're feeling like called to
I'll
share?
share.
Thanks, Carolyn.
Okay. How do I want to be remembered in 50 years? I already have kind of written my epitaph, so it goes along with that. And my epitaph is, she lived fiercely. So the way I want to be remembered around that is that I did everything that I wanted to do, despite obstacles and fears.
I love that. Fearless. Yes. Love that. Yes. Anybody else? Jason?
I just wanted to touch on the first one of use my talents to better serve humanity. We started this thing of kind of doing the minimalist movement a few months ago. And so we've been kind of going room to room and decluttering and cleaning up our feng shui or whatever you want to call it. But I kind of felt weird about, like, we cleaned out our closets. I'm retired, so I don't need all these dress clothes or all these dress shoes I had 25 pairs of. And I thought, well, I don't want to just donate them to Goodwill. I mean, that's good, but there's got to be something more specific. So we found separate, smaller charities for clothing, for business clothing, for shoes, for books, for, whatever we were getting rid of. We found a small charity that we could donate to. And so, in a way, we were serving humanity by donating a bunch of business shoes to Souls for Souls, who repurpose those shoes to other countries that people need dress shoes to do a job interview or whatever. And it just made me feel a little better about getting rid of stuff, because I felt like it was a purpose, not just me cleaning out my closets where it felt a little selfish, like I'm making my life better, but not really helping anybody. And so now we found different charities to donate, and we've gotten a lot of good response from them. My wife donated a bunch of her dress shoes, and I donated, and we got letters from people that actually wore them to like a job interview or I've never owned a pair of dress shoes and they're 65 years old, living in Pakistan or something. And it's just interesting how they run these new little small charities. It makes you feel a lot better about decluttering your own life. So there's that.
That is really beautiful and exciting. And what I hope you are listening from both sharing, experiences is that our morning routine can be dedicated not for our to-do list, but for what is going to be the reason for being. And that's really why I wanted to show you that diagram, because when a lot of people follow morning routines, which is about kind of working on things that they're just putting so much pressure on, which doesn't give them the opportunity to dream, to hope, and just to get out of the norm of what they would usually do for the rest of the day. So I really encourage you to think outside the box. I'm going to also share these prompt questions with Deb in your community so that you start thinking about your morning routine, not as a to-do list, but as something you would never have done otherwise. And then you will never let go of it. Once you use your morning routine for bettering yourself, and bettering humanity thanks to your gift and what you remember, don't put so much pressure that this is now a business plan you're going to go and try to accomplish in 30 days. This is something that is a habit, it's a lifestyle. It will be evolving and you will find yourself that you just want to wake up. You would want to wake up earlier. One of the things that I love to tell my clients to do is when you're thinking about getting up, you have to think about hope and encouragement. You have to give yourself those shout outs that the day is not going to probably give to you. Start with yourself, treating yourself with grace so that you are your first person to be rooting for yourself. So let me just go back to sharing something else that
We did have a question from Carolyn that just popped up
okay,
in the chat.
Can you read it out to me?
Yeah, she says she's already doing that. Carolyn, are you able to come back on? You want to, instead of me reading it?
It's such a big question. So like everything I'm doing right now is toward my vision for my life, my passion, my purpose, and my meaning. And so like when you talk about doing, using your morning routine for something that you're not already doing, like I don't know what to do with that. Like I I was thinking that I would, use my morning routine to push those things forward. Where do I take it otherwise? Like, do I find a new hobby or a new pursuit? I don't feel like I should try to fit anything else in at this time. So I don't know.
And that is something that you remember. You have a day after the other. So absolutely remember, you're going to start accomplishing more because you're going to end up having one day added to your week. When we wake up 1 hour early or every day and we're dedicating it to the things that are priority to us, we're going to start accomplishing a lot and evolving and growing. So go ahead by any means and focus on that first. You may want to eventually incorporate other passions, other things that you are going to find that are important to you. So absolutely, I didn't start thinking about the California road trip when I started this. I had other things that I worked on that I've been able to accomplish. And it feels good to finally get to the point where I'm dreaming, I had put a lot of dreams in a drawer, a lot, so many. And now I'm taking them out and I am having this time where I can actually have imperfect action by breaking them down in the morning. Anybody else?
For the second one, I would say that I'm most excited about working towards a healthier lifestyle. So just cooking healthier foods and working out more. I feel like when I do that, I just feel better inside and out. And I feel like it shows not just for myself, but for my friends and people that I come in contact with the community. So I think that's pretty nice and makes me feel good overall.
Yes, yes, I love that. I love that you are using things that are creative. And remember, this is customizable. This is, all of us are so different. Our priorities are so different. I have a client, she actually does all her cooking throughout the morning now. You know, she's, because she loves to cook and she wanted to start baking because eventually she's never baked, like, and she's always envisioned that she would be a baker. So I told her, start baking cookies, start doing something, you know, start experimenting. You know, she gets up, she does some stretching, she does some praying, because that's part of her lifestyle. And then she goes into the kitchen. Why not? We don't have to each follow any specific routine, because what our talents have to, what the kind of talents that we want to grow and pretty much start thinking about, because some of us may want to start digesting this at the beginning with journaling, with affirmations, with visualization. Those are techniques that allow you to take action. So by all means. Um, Carol is saying, I start my day by reading, thinking about scripture, and praying. Carol, so do I. And I used to be someone who would put it off at the end of the day. And now I feel I'm empowered, because I have a relationship now with, you know, my practice, my praying practice, and before with God, you know, that is who I believe in and who I love. And whoever or whatever is that is your belief system, I encourage you to put that in your affirmation and put that in your visualization, because that's how I do it. I don't impose it on others, but that's what you could start with scripture on your affirmation, while I have other people who want to use quotes from successful people because they're into, you know, just learning from others. One last, this is from one last habit that I've started to implement that I wanted to share with you. And I believe this is from Robin Sharma, is habit stacking. So I wanted to quickly go into this because it is so simple and so powerful. Deb, are you familiar with this, with habit stacking? Okay, so it's really easy. Is anybody familiar with it? Yes, awesome. So basically, you stack your habits by telling yourself what you're going to do next. So, for example, in the savers that we spoke about, we said that we basically have this silence, this affirmation, this visualization, right? When we're specific and intentional about our habits, and we say, for example, myself, I say, after I have silence, I'll make my coffee and then I'm going to read. Okay. That is something that now I do, and it allows me to follow a routine. So you create a sequence and it can change every week. But it's important that you stick to it for several days so that you develop the habit of, and I think, was it Caroline, you were having time management questions? This one is the best time management resource I've ever heard of. When you put your mind, I'm going to do, and it's not a checklist. Remember, you're embracing this routine of things that you are going to enjoy. So you just put, after this, I'm doing this, and after this, I'm doing that. It's a simple sequence, and the benefit is that you automate your behavior and you don't waste time kind of stopping thinking, what am I going to do next? What do I want to do now? And it is, I'm not a time management expert, but I'm telling you, that practicing these individual habits in a sequence builds the momentum fast. So I wanted to share that with you and let you know that my Sunrise Challenge, I'm going to start on December 30th, the Monday after Thanksgiving. We run it for an entire week. We get on Zoom and we do I'm going to do 6 to 7. I used to do it at 5:30. Now I'm doing it at 6 because of the time change. And the idea is basically to try a challenge so that you develop the habit. By the end of the 7 days, you're able to develop the habits and you get the recording so that we break down all these habits and all these miracle morning lifesavers and 5 a.m. club practices so that you have resources. I go into a little nighttime routine and early routine from other big time mentors. Nothing crazy, like we're not jumping into cold pools like Tony Robbins. So they're achievable. They're very much achievable. And we're gonna share the link at the end of this recording so that hopefully you take a look at that and see if that interests you. But I would love to leave the last few minutes to answer anyone's question. Anybody?
I think everybody was good. I saw some comments in the chat. I did post your link for the challenge, the upcoming challenge, in the chat box. So if anybody is interested, you can go check that out. I did mention at the beginning of our call, the Find Calm Here community is going to take a pause for next week so y'all can celebrate with your whoever it is you're celebrating with. This is a weird year, so I don't want to say all of your family because all of the things, but however it is, cats. Carolyn's going to do the cats thing. Very cool. Michelle, thank you so much for being here.
I've enjoyed this time with you all. I'm really in full admiration of people like you who really want to better their routines, themselves, find resources. I really love that you are creating this beautiful community, Deb, and I'm honored to have been part of it.
Thank you. I'm excited. Like I said in the beginning, I know a couple people came in late, but there's a lot changing with Find Calm Here. We're going to move to monthly workshops in January. I want your feedback though. So if you want to jump in the community, let me know what you guys are excited about for 2021, what topics you guys want to talk about, because planning to launch the first workshop in January being about vision boards. So I'm excited about that, but let me know what you guys want to chat about. We do have 3 events coming up in December. And then I am going to have I had wanted to do a gathering in November, but things happen with my schedule. I'm going to try to do one for December. So on December 12th, and that would be a great place for you guys all to connect on the community. So in a Zoom. So thank y'all for being here. I appreciate everybody's time and presence because it is a gift to give your time, and have a great Turkey Day and a great week.
Can we get some more guys in this group? Come on.
I will. And more testosterone in my life. Really.
Where are the dudes at?
I will tell you about okay, well, here's the thing. We're moving to a female-only community.
Oh, come on. I gotta grow hair now?
You have hair. It's just not on the top of your head.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll talk with you offline, Jason. But it came to a point of where I needed to decide where it makes the most sense to focus.
Fine.
And females are coming and they're interested. They're chatting it up. They're loving it.
I love it.
So you're always welcome.
Michelle, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I
agree with you, Jason. Bring the guys and just let I focus, Deb, on women, and I have male clients. It's great to get their feedback. I love that.
I agree, and that's why I always wanted to have everyone feel welcome in the Find Calm Here community. And what I've learned over the last 9 months of doing lots of research and talking with lots of people is that who seems to relate the best to these kinds of topics is women. Doesn't mean you can't come, Jason. You can always come.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
All
Bring your
right.
friends.
Thank
Bring
you.
your guy
Thank you,
friends,
G, for
Jason.
being here. What'd you say, Kim?
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and start rising up and living it up at daybreak. It's really life-changing.
Yeah.
Just give it a try and see how you feel.
All right. Have a good
You,
evening.
Michelle.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.